We have some pretty major breaking news as it sounds like Helio Castroneves will attempt to run the 2025 Daytona 500 with Trackhouse Racing. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to our video. As I just said in a second ago, we had some pretty massive major Saturday breaking news. It sounds like Helio Castroneves is going to attempt to run the Daytona 500 in 2025. Here was what was reported by Tony Donahue. He says it was supposed to happen in 2024. After years waiting, four-time Indy 500 winner Helio will attempt the 2025 Daytona 500. Details to come. He is also expected to drive the number 91 Project 91 entry at this year's Daytona 500. Back last year in 2023 or 2024, there was a lot of rumors and speculation that Project 91 was going to come back for 2024, and Helio was going to run the 2024 Daytona 500. Unfortunately, because they were currently focusing on developing Shane Van Gisbergen and putting their resources with Zane Smith in the 71 car, they never really got the chance and opportunity to run Helio in the Daytona 500 because they did want to get the Project 91 car in the Daytona 500. But now they're going to have the chance and opportunity to run the Daytona 500. This has been Helio Castroneves' goal over the course of the last couple of years. Back after he won the SRX race, I believe it was at Five Flag Speedway in 2021 or 2022, Helio said that he was trying to convince Don Hawk to give him a chance and opportunity to get in a competitive car for the Daytona 500. There were rumors about him driving the number 50. At the time, it was the Money Team, now Team Amervent car for the Daytona 500, but that deal unfortunately ended up falling through and it never ended up happening. And now it sounds like he's finally going to be in a pretty competitive car because Trackhouse Racing is going to have a very strong team in 2025. You've obviously got Ross Chastain, winner of 5 NASCAR Cup Series races, has been pretty competitive in the Daytona 500 and came close to winning the Daytona 500 in 2024 before coming to the white flag of the race. Then, of course, you had Daniel Suarez, who won Atlanta Motor Speedway in 2024. Pretty underrated super speedway racer and is generally run really great at these types of tracks. And then you have Shane Van Gisbergen, the rookie, who's going to be super competitive, going to be super strong. He's been pretty competitive on the super speedway tracks. I look for Shane Van Gisbergen to be pretty competitive in this year's Daytona 500, especially driving a number 88 machine. And now you're going to have one of the greatest Indy 500 drivers ever, only one of 4 drivers who've ever won the Indy 500 4 times, getting the chance and opportunity to be in a very competitive car. Now, Helio Castroneves is going to have a ton of competition he's going to have to go up against to make this year's Daytona 500. He's going to have to go up against Mike Walls, who'll drive the 66 car for MBM, who's won multiple races at Daytona in ARCA, Xfinity, and trucks. Never won a cup race, so. You've got potentially Jimmy Johnson in the number 84 car, though Mark Truex Jr. may be in that car, but there's also rumors that now coming around at the moment that Tricon Garage may or may not be fielding a car for Mark Truex Jr. at this year's Daytona 500. There's talk of the 33 car for Rich Trost Racing show up. It could potentially be where Austin Hill is going to end up driving. We do think they do end up showing up. It sounds like Austin Hill's probably the favorite to get behind the wheel of that seat. Beer Motorsports, I would expect to field the car in this year's Daytona 500. I would think Anthony Alfredo would most likely be the driver. You've got Live Fast Motorsports with BJ McLeod. You never know. 24/11 Racing could field a 4th car for some other driver. We're not sure. Maybe like an Eric Almirola, perhaps, maybe. And there's some other teams like NY Racing who's going to show up with JJ Yeley. And there's some other unknowns and unconfirmed seats that have not been confirmed for this year's Daytona 500. When I look at the strong competition this year, the open field for this year's Daytona 500, if it's true that Castroneves and Truex are running in the teams that they're running for, I really think that Castroneves has a really strong chance and a really great opportunity to make this year's Daytona 500. I think Trackhouse is going to bring the speed. Now, obviously, one of the issues that Trackhouse Racing and Chevrolet has kind of had in recent years as super speedways outside of Hendrick Motorsports has been their qualifying speed. They generally put a lot more focus on the race speed, so I don't think he'll get in on race speed. That being said, I do think he's got a good chance and opportunity to get in the races. The Chevys are really going to help Helio get that chance and opportunity to make it in, and I think that Helio will be super competitive and have help from his teammates of Shane Van Gisbergen, Ross Chastain, and Daniel Suarez to get it done. it's been so cool to see so many legends. I think the next gen cars created so much of this interest, but it's been pretty cool to see so many of these legends get the chance and opportunity to drive in really, really competitive cars. You think about the fact that, like I said, Mike Wallace is coming out of retirement. You've got Jimmy Johnson who's come back after being gone for a couple years, and he's been back in the last couple of years. You've always got other people that have been interested, like Greg Biffle, who at one point could have ran the Daytona 500. Doesn't sound like he's going to run it this year, but he could run it down the road, and he's still interested in doing it. Ryan Newman's come back in recent years. And there's other legends that have been kind of interested in getting behind the wheel of the next-gen car. Carl Edwards had expressed some interest, but basically would have to put full focus on racing in the next-gen era. And I don't know if Carl will ever come back, though. It'd be cool to see him come back at one point. And I think it is pretty cool to see that Helio is going to drive for Project 91. You think about all the stuff that Trackhouse Racing's been doing. They brought Shane Van Gisbergen over, saw that Project 91 car go to victory lane at Chicago, and now we've seen the sound, because they've been talking about bringing this Project 91 car back for 2025, and it sounds like it's finally going to happen. We're going to have to wait until the official confirmation comes out. Trackhouse Racing will probably have an announcement coming really, really soon, but I would think the announcement's coming not too far down the road, and there's some other Daytona 500 announcements that are happening soon, because we're only about 40 days away from the Daytona 500, 43 days away as a matter of fact, so there's still some big entries that do need to be confirmed for this year's Daytona 500. That being said, it's so exciting to see all these big names that are showing up, all these big teams that are showing up, and I'm definitely excited to see the Helio Castroneves, one of the greatest race car drivers in the world, get the chance and opportunity to, after a couple years of waiting, because we all thought, like I said a few years ago, that it was going to happen, and now it's finally going to happen in 2025. So excited to see what he can do in this year's Daytona 500 if it does end up coming true. Looking forward to see what he can do. He'll have a competitive team that will look to help him out in a pretty big way. We'll see if Trackhouse can win their first ever Daytona 500, and we'll see if Helio Castroneves can be the first Indy 500 winner to win the Daytona 500 in a long time. I think the last time an Indy 500 winner won the Daytona 500 might have been AJ Foyt back in 1972, so it's been a long time since that's happened. Really glad to see, though, that Helio will get the chance and a really good opportunity to race in this year's Indy 500, though he's probably going to run the Indy 500. Glad to see he'll be running with Trackhouse at this year's Daytona 500. So that is here today's special breaking news report. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. How excited are you to see the potential possibility of Helio Castroneves running the Daytona 500 with Trackhouse Racing? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, you're going to be seeing an early dive look into the Chili Bowl entry list. You also will see an early look at the Formula One driver lineup as well. Monday, we're going to talk about the Mark Truex Jr. speculation. We'll talk about the Helio Castroneves speculation, and we'll talk about the charter cap limit that's been kind of going on recently. We'll be talking throughout the week on people like Kyle Busch, Kurt Busch, Carl Edwards, Hailie Deegan, Shane Van Gisbergen, Connor Zilisch, Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, 2011 front row on that lawsuit, because they're going to be getting some news on that here really, really soon. Also, we'll get some updates on front row. We'll talk about Zane Smith, Sheldon Creed, Sam Marin, all these really good drivers as we head into the rest of the off season, as we're about a month away from the start of the year. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.